Hello everybody, welcome back to The Barbershop. Today I need to put out a disclaimer that I do not encourage anyone to undergo any form of body augmentation or method of extreme body modification. I'm not going to be intending to glorify any of these or romanticize any of the soon-to-be-mentioned modifications that I'm going to be discussing today. However, this is all just for the sake of informative entertainment. You go on out there and enjoy being in this world, and you do whatever the fuck you want to do to yourself. That being said, on today's episode of The Barbershop, I have run out of beer in the fridge, but we do have some of the Mrs.'s wine. She is drinking on some St. James Vineyard. I believe that's a local here in the state of Missouri. Hers is peach white wine, and it's pretty sweet, very crisp. Super summery. Really enjoyable. It's not that bad. Not really that big of a wine guy myself, but we don't discriminate against the type of booze here unless it's gin. That stuff tastes like a dirty sock soaking in a cotton swab full of rubbing alcohol. Yeah, we discriminate just a little bit against gin. However, you know what? We'll still try it one day, I'm sure. I am sure. Moving on into today's episode, we're going to be talking about body modification, extreme body modification. I myself have tattoos. I have a gauge in one of my ears, and it is about 3/4 inch. I have had my cartilage pierced up top of my ear. Other than that, I really haven't had any extreme body modifications. I mean, there was that one emo time in high school where I pulled a Lenny Kravitz. You guys will get that reference later. So what I want to talk to you guys today is a little mixture of the types of extreme body modifications there are out there, as well as some famous either models, entertainers, musicians you may know, you may have heard of, who happen to have some of these extreme body modifications themselves. So to start off, I got most of this information from everydayhealth.com. And other information was from a Forbes online forum. So the first one I want to talk about is branding. So if you are a little too impatient to sit around and do the 1,000 poke a minute tattoo method, you can always just rely on scalding hot iron and leave a brand on yourself. That is another method essentially used by farmers originally, cattle farmers. They would brand their cattle so that other farmers knew, oh, wait a minute, this cattle out here with that big old U shape, that belongs to Eustace or somebody, whoever, you know what I'm getting at. It was a way of marking territory for farmers. In comparison, branding is apparently becoming its own level of popular for extreme, body modification. Can't think of anybody right off that has that I have read about on like Forbes or any other entertainment forum. However, beyond branding, there is also scarification. That is a method of legitimately removing flesh until you expose, blood, I believe down to probably the 6th exposed layer of the epidermis, maybe even deeper to completely removing the skin entirely, so that it eventually scars over and heals, and then the scar tissue itself is the design. That's another one that people are doing. Seems a little too much for me. I enjoy tattoos myself, and honestly, I still have plenty of tattooable space, so I'm not really looking forward to any new extreme methods of that. I do know that a thing that is coming into style, into fashion, that is represented by Mr. Oli Sykes, Bring Me the Horizon, is blackout tattooing. He has, I believe it was his left arm, it may be his right, one of the two of those appendages is entirely blacked out. All black ink, completely blacked out. And then what other people are doing is getting the blackout tattoo and either just kind of enjoying life with that solid sleeve, or they're going through with white ink and basically having a chalkboard-looking arm. Sounds really cool to me, but like I said, I still have plenty of tattooable space, so I'm not going to go that route. Another body modification that I have been informed of, right off, I can't think of anybody again that I have read about that's doing this. However, I'm pretty sure in the overall fashion industry for models, beyond starvation, there is waist training. Now, some models either utilize corsets or the actual fabric material called a waist trainer in order to shrink down those inches around their waist, or in some of the more extreme cases, much like the Marlyn Manson mythology, where he had ribs removed in order to fluff his own Garfield, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't believe that is accurate or true. Again, I believe that was actually just a myth. However, it is there that apparently in the fashion industry, some models are in fact having ribs removed to continue to further taper down that waistline. Something that I believe was pointed out to me that Lady Gaga may have are silicone implants. They are not just titties, but literal shapes: stars, hearts, horseshoes, clovers, blue moons, you name it. And people are getting these epidurally inserted under their skin, these little silicone moldable pieces that go under the skin that leave an abrasion above the normal area where the insertion goes, and it leaves that design, either the star, heart, so on and so forth. Not necessarily interested myself. Does not exactly sound as fun as one would expect. It sounds a little painful. It sounds like there's a lot of possible complications beyond pain, beyond the procedure itself. But depending on what the actual silicone part is made out of and whether or not it is hollowed out, full, you name it, it could pop, it could leak, it could cause all other kinds of issues that would require an additional surgery. Another thing involving not necessarily silicone, but that form of injection is called bagel heading. So anyone that's ever had a horrible experience being way too dehydrated, or in general had to go and be in the hospital for any number of reasons, more than likely has been put up to a saline IV drip. And it's essentially that's what bagel heading is. You go wherever they're offering it. I really can't think of anywhere that does it. Even in the United States, I'm sure it has become popular enough that they do, but I know that apparently it was, if not Korea, Japan, one of those two Asian-esque countries where bagel heading was very popular. Blatantly, you would go to whatever location, have a seat, and sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes, however long it took for a whatever size bag of saline drip solution to drip itself slowly down into the injection site of your forehead until you now have a bulbous-looking goose egg right under the epidermis of your skin. And now you have this big protuberance that will then be firmly pressed down on with somebody's thumb until it pushes its way around and makes a circle, looking like you have a bagel implanted in your head. Now again, this is all just a saline solution, so it eventually just gets absorbed through your body, and you feel a little hydrated. But I'm sure there are their own medical risks. I myself have no interest in doing that one. That's indeed a bit too extreme. Now, when it comes to piercings, of course everyone's have heard of ears, eyebrows, noses, lip, tongue, you name it. Of course, there are other people that are a little more extreme and get their clitosaurus, they get their Johnson, they get their teabag. Other people have gotten lips pierced, bottom ones, not top ones. People get their nipperoles pierced, and then people take those piercings sometimes and gauge them. That is all to each their own. However, the man Lenny Kravitz apparently one day was on stage, bouncing around, having that fantastic Lenny energy, and in his leather pants, they ripped, exposing himself and his Johnson, and everyone was able to see the barbell that was sported in his Johnson, which is what I was referring to at the beginning of the episode, where I've experienced my own Lenny Kravitz in those sad, depressed emo days where pain was just all the rage. Moving back over into the mouth, people not only pierce their tongue, but in some of these extreme cases, will fork their tongue. Not fuck, but fork their tongue. That basically is exactly what it sounds like. They go and schedule a surgery where somebody, more than likely an actual dental professional, maybe tattoo artists are doing that these days, I'm not 100% sure. You go to a medical professional, your tongue is held out, a scalpel is taken, slices your tongue in the middle, however deep, I'm not exactly sure, but nevertheless, your tongue is cut in the middle, cauterized on both sides, and then it's up to you to maintain fantastic oral hygiene in order to stray away from any possible, onset issues or complications, such as additional bleeding, cracks or splitting, extended time for healing, or, of course, unfortunate infection, which so many people have to fight off when it comes to tattoos, especially if it's virgin skin, you don't know how your body's going to take it, especially if your body is the kind that is going to reject ink. But nevertheless, that's a bit too much for me. I'm good. Maybe one day to get my tongue pierced, but I don't know. I just don't know. I would be terrified that I'd be trying to swallow it all the time, and I'm sure that's a common fear. Nevertheless, you know what? I might just have to talk to Scott Patchelak about that. I will be getting an opportunity to interview him upcoming this weekend, and I hope you guys enjoy it just as much as I'm looking forward to doing it. But staying in the region of the mouth, there are people that have, if not done it themselves, have had assistance with it. It is called filing, and essentially it's exactly what it sounds like. You take a big old file, kind of like for your fingernails, probably a little bit more industrial than that, and you file your teeth down into points. Now, that is its own horrific issue because your teeth have this thing called protective enamel. And, through everyday things, beer, coffee, caffeine, things you eat, failing to brush 3 times a day, failing to floss, you're slowly breaking down enamel, but not at the speed when you just legitimately shave away chunks of your teeth in order to make these vampiric little fangs or alligator mouths. Those that want to do it, by all means, enjoy. You let your freak flag fly, and you have a great time doing it. In comparison, you are also risking, though, not only heightened visits to the dentist, possible tooth loss itself, tooth decay from cavity exposure, as well as overall just numerous infections that could lead to such extreme dental procedures such as root canals, fillers, all that jazz, any attempt to repair those teeth. But again, on this show here at the Barbershop, we don't discriminate, we don't hate, we're not telling you not to, we're just letting you know of the risks that are involved. The last one I want to mention is piercings or tattoos in the eye. No thank you. Just no thank you. I'm not interested at all. As someone who suffers from chronic seasonal allergy issues, I'm good. I get irritation all the time, and all I gotta do is wake up. I don't want to know that there's an additional thing or protuberance or coloration or scar or scratch that is causing this irritation. I'm just good. Not interested at all. I have suffered from something called iritis, which is a basic inflammation of the iris itself. Unsure really what it's due to. Nevertheless, it is exhausting. It's horrifyingly painful. It's blinding. You cloud over, you fog up, you have watery eye. I'm good. I don't want to intentionally put anything in my eye. Maybe contacts again later on in life, but right now I'm just good, staying away from my own eyes. Everybody, I hope you felt very informed with the things that you'd learned today. And if you'd like to check those facts for yourself, you are welcome to, by all means, check out any form of online forum for Forbes, where I got most of my information on the celebrities, or everydayhealth.com. Not a sponsor, but it should be. Remember, as long as the lights are on, and there's beer in the fridge, or in this case today, the Mrs.'s wine, there will always be a barbershop.